So Jimbo, any anything happened today? I don't know. I've been kind of out of it. I'm going to be honest with you. So I don't know. Has any news come across the wire in the NFL in this past couple hours?
Russell Wilson might be starting.
Oh, I did see that. I did see that. Russell
Yeah,
Wilson might
yeah.
start on Sunday. Oh, they moved. I saw for Week 8. They moved the Bears and Commanders game. They moved that to 4:25. I think for a
Okay.
more of a a game of the week window, I guess you will. That's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't. No, nothing else, right? No,
No,
no.
a slow day today. Very
Very
slow.
slow news day in the NFL
Very.
today. Very. And welcome to the countdown, everybody. My name is King. I am your boy, King, and right over there, that's your good friend Jimbo. Jimbo, uh, boy, when something decides to happen, it decides to happen real goddamn quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So Devontae Adams goes where we all thought he was going to go anyway. He's got traded to the New York Jets today, to the point where he was already in the building when Pat McAfee was talking to Aaron Rodgers today. He was just peeked his head and was like, "Hello, how are you? Good to see you." So that happened. Then we had a trade. We had Amari Cooper getting sent to the Bills. So the two teams that played last night got themselves some new wide receivers. It appears that the Jets are letting go or have already let go. I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen it come across the wire, but it's more than likely that Mike Williams is either going to be traded or released by the Jets at some point. Which of course Aaron Rodgers kind of criticized him last night for the and listen, in watching the game in real time, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he underthrew him. It was a bad throw." Looking at the play, I think Mike Williams might have overran the route to begin with, and I think
Okay.
that was where there was a bit of the criticism. But also, like if he keeps his feet, he catches that ball,
Yeah.
and he slips. So I mean, it's a little bit of an accident, maybe a little bit of a overrun of the route, maybe an underthrow too as well. Maybe it's a combination of all three. But uh, to be honest, Mike Williams really hasn't worked out with the Jets. And then the Bills, of course, to make room for Amari Cooper, they've released MVS. So now MVS is out there. Does he end up going back to the Chiefs? As they're desperate for anybody in the wide receiver room at this point.
Seems like the Chiefs would be putting the band back together per se.
Hey, we're getting the band back together, man. Let's go. Woo! Or does he take a trip to New York and it's just the New York, New Jersey Packers at this point, as I've heard a couple people call it. Tom Grossi, by the way. By the way, big shout out to Tom Grossi and the Grossi Posse for last night during the live stream. Got a raid from them during halftime. Again, can't tell you how much that we appreciate it here at Stay Tuned Sports. Was quite the surprise. Took me by surprise. I was getting ready to make a cup of coffee. I was going to be like, let me put the merch commercial up there. I will make a cup of coffee and relax. And as soon as I do, I see the chat just go, just running with everybody. Grossi Posse, Grossi Raid, woo, Grossi Raid. I was like, oh my God. So that was really awesome. Very cool from Tom and from everybody. And plus, Tom likes my scoreboard. All right. I'm doing something right. So big shout out to Tom Grossi and the Grossi Posse out there. Thank you so very much. That helps us. Again, I cannot tell you how much. And our goal was to reach, after we reached 100, our goal was like, all right, we're going to make it 2. We're going to go 200. Thanks to Tom Grossi and that raid, we've reached 200 already. So that's already now exploded. So now, do we go for 3? As Jimbo was saying, do we just say screw it and shoot for 5 for the end of this year? I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do, what the next goal is. But again, big thank you. Shout out to Tom Grossi and the Grossi Posse. However, I think it's time we just jump into this. Again, we're going to talk a lot more about the Devontae Adams fallout, the Amari Cooper fallout, whatever else is happening. It seems like trades are coming fast and furious now. Poor Max Crosby, he just kind of seems all by myself out there in Vegas, man.
He's going to be the meme laying on the bed with the Wolverine picture, but it's gonna be Devontae Adams.
It's Devontae and Derek Carr and just anybody, everything. My God, poor Max, poor Max. But let's jump over here and let's get ready to go with our power rankings this week. I think we're starting to hit a sweet spot. I really do. I think out of the chaos that was the first 4 or 5 weeks, I think we're starting to hit our stride, starting to get into there. But first, let's jump into the Booty Cheeks 5. We're gonna find out who we like, who we don't like. Obviously, this is the Booty Cheeks 5, where we put the 5 worst teams we think are in the NFL. Jimbo, you're up first. Let's pop this up there for you. Jimbo's Booty Cheeks 5, and bang! There we go. 28-32. Explain yourself, Jimbo.
So Jacksonville and Carolina pretty much stayed the same spots that
Stays like before. Yes.
And I'm just gonna say this: if Jacksonville loses this weekend, old Dougie P is gonna be left over there.
I thought he might have been the first coach that was fired in between 2 London games. I honestly thought I thought it was coming the way that they ended up playing against the Bears, because and we talked ourselves into picking. We were like, they're going to London. They played really well against the Colts and won there. It seems like maybe they're starting to turn it around, hit their stride. Trevor Lawrence might be getting back into it. They're used to the London trip. The Bears aren't. We're gonna say, oh boy, nope, we were wrong. Caleb Williams seems to be hitting his stride, and they seem to be getting better. Are the Chicago Bears? So, it's and who are they playing? They're playing the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
If you lose to the Patriots, if you lose to the Bears and the Patriots in London, Dougie might be flying coach on the way back, paying his own way.
Yeah, it's also not good that you're 6 weeks into the season and the coach is like, there's got to be a cultural change. No, that's when you got.
That's what you're supposed to do, Doug. The head coach sets the culture. If you're asking for a culture change, him asking for a culture change is like saying, please fire me. I don't want to be here anymore. This sucks. That's what it sounds like.
It's almost like us Eagles fans who, still love Dougie P, wants him to be up there at a press conference and just want to say, Doug, if they're holding you against your will, blink your eyes.
Well, that's how I feel about Stefanski. And speaking of Stefanski and the Browns, I see you have them up there at 30. Finally bringing them into your bottom 5. I had them there for a while, but I see you finally brought them into the Booty Cheeks 5. That's... listen.
Not good.
If Jameis Winston starts last week, they beat the Eagles.
Yes, totally agree. They were only, that game was only close because of Myles Garrett blocking that field goal. If we would have got that field goal, this game could have been even a lot more, lot worse. But so I mean, that's enough talk about the Browns. Because
Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win, and we're going to stick him with Kevin, hold up the newspaper. Can we see a sign of life? Are you okay? Blink twice if you're okay. Blink 3 times if they're holding your family hostage. Let us know. We got to. Well, I feel bad for him. I almost feel like we have to have a save Kevin Stefanski drive or movement here because not great.
And not to get it really into it because we want to get moving here. But on Pat McAfee's show today, the Browns were pretty much screwed with Deshaun Watson for the next 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
3 years.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was like this year and then next year.
No.
And then the following year they could just.
For any time. But at some. Listen, it sucks. You made a bad deal. But you're going to have to Russell Wilson it because he's. Not only is he not getting better, he's getting worse.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to eat that at some point. But Jimmy Haslam is an idiot. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. And then Miami, they only moved up 1 spot by default of the Browns dropping down there. Miami being on a bye week, as well as Tennessee was on bye week. So they.
Well, no, you didn't have Tennessee on here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just the way my graph is, so Tennessee's actually my 26th.
Tennessee, you actually moved out of the Booty Cheeks 5. Yes.
Yes.
Even though they lost. But I did the same thing. I did the same thing too because they played well. They played close to the Colts.
Yeah.
So, but I see, you have the Patriots there. They moved up one kind of by default because the Browns dropping down there, and the same with the Dolphins, who are on a bye week. They get a +1 bump just because the Browns are that bad,
Yeah.
So but by the issue of the Browns being that bad, you get a nice little bump. So that's Jimbo's Booty Cheeks 5. Let's take a look at what I have, and it's not too dissimilar. We have mostly the same teams here. Again, I got the Jaguars at 28. I don't. They're bad. I mean, you're not in a Booty Cheeks 5 if you're not bad. So let's put that out there right now. But yeah, Doug Peterson is, I don't think, long for that job. And we'll see what happens down there. But again, I think they paid Trevor Lawrence too early. I think they overestimated themselves. I think they thought, they thought who they were, and it has not worked out there in Jacksonville or in London, as it appears. Panthers I have at 29. Again, I have them moving down one from where they were last week at 28 because the Jaguars are back into the Booty Cheeks 5. I feel bad for the Panthers, but they were bad. Andy Dalton gave them that little bit of a bump in Vegas, but since then it's just been like, oh no, they really do suck. Okay, no, all right. Like you would think, oh, maybe Andy Dalton's the difference. Maybe that's something else. And they've played better than I think they would have with Bryce Young. Don't get me wrong, but they're still a bad team all around, and it's an organization that is in they're in transition. There's some dynamics that need to be changed until we find a nice synergy within, corporate speak shit that you have to say.
Yeah.
Sticking at 30, no change with the bye week. I have the Dolphins. It was a bye week, which might be the best week they have all year. We'll see. And who, like I said, it appears that Tua is coming back. So we'll see what happens then. I'm making sure I put a guardian cap on him though. If he's coming back, if I'm the NFL,
I may put 2 or 3 of them on him.
If I'm the NFL, I'm telling them, listen, I don't care if you think it looks goofy or not. Your ass is putting a goddamn guardian cap on. Stop running your head into fucking people's chests. And like you said, maybe double up. Like, listen, maybe go with the Great Gazoo look. Because, what you're doing now is not great. Actually, up a spot, I have the Patriots. And the only reason I moved them up a spot is because I think, despite the loss, 41-21 to the Texans, Drake May actually looked good outside of getting pummeled because his offensive line is shit. But he didn't look bad. Like, his stat line was pretty decent outside of getting, his ribs caved in. But he's not dead yet, so that's a positive if you're New England. And maybe you have something there. Got to get more pieces. Got to build that offensive line. But not terrible, so I give them a little bit of a... They're next to last. And, of course, last, moving down a spot. I think the Browns have found their spot for the season. Because Deshaun Watson is getting worse. And I didn't think that was possible. But he's getting worse. And now they've lost Amari Cooper. He's gone. And, the Browns might be getting Chubb back, but if I'm Chubb, I'm like, fuck it. I'll let my knee heal for another year. I'll skip another year. What do I care? Because maybe ask for a trade out of there. Does anybody need somebody with a surgically repaired knee? Anybody, just take me. And it feels like that's going to be the feeling in Cleveland now because Jimmy Haslam has sacrificed everything for Mr. No Means Yes there, and it's not going well. It's definitely not going well. But there we go. That is our Booty Cheeks 5, the 5 bottom teams we have in the NFL for Week 6 of the 2024 season. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event. I don't know. That's not the official theme. We're working on it. It's in a workshop right now. It's in a workshop. We're figuring things out. But here we go. Jimbo, your top 12 power ranking countdown here for Week 6. Number 12, who you got?
Number 12, I got the Atlanta Falcons. Um, I, I believe they won this past week.
Yeah, I believe they. Wait, did they play or did they have a bye? No, they did play. I literally just looked this up too. I believe they played. Yeah.
Let's see. 'Cause I think that's what it came down to for me, between the 12, 13, 14 spot, was the fact that
Yes, they beat
were,
Carolina.
yeah. And
That's
then,
why we forgot because they played Carolina.
yeah. And the other two teams at 13, 14 of my power rankings, either lost or won just barely and not as impressive. So that's why I got the Falcons at 12. Number 11, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm afraid to say it, but if Russell Wilson starts, they're going to lose all the momentum they have. I think they should keep Justin Fields in there. I don't think they are a top 12 team with Russell Wilson in there.
Well, we'll see. Here's the thing. I can't say that because I haven't seen him. I don't know how he looks with the Pittsburgh offense. I don't know how he looks with what they're doing. And maybe Mike Tomlin's thinking that too, and he's like, we'll see. Maybe we'll see what he's doing. I don't know. But I'll
And plus, they had the big win over the Raiders out in Las Vegas, even though it was a home game basically for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, that's a shit. And now the Raiders are going to LA this week, where it's going to be a home game for them, but in LA. So it's the NFL dynamic is weird. Vegas had basically a road game at home against the Steelers, and now they get a home game on the road against the Rams. Whatever, but good traveling fan bases.
At 10, I have the 49ers. They're
Still, I know they had a bye, so they don't really go up or down, but with a bye. But man, the fact that you still do have them in there at 3-3 is.
And I'm the biggest critic of them.
Yes, you are, especially Brock Purdy. But
yeah, elite Brock Purdy. But I'm just not ready to give up. Another week or two of bad defense, bad games, then they'll be.
Well, again, they're very injured. They are a very injured team. So that's kind of where I've given them leeway. But even with that, I had to bump them out. So
yeah.
But yeah, you're keeping faith. You know why? Because deep in your heart, you know that Brock Purdy's elite. You know it. That's why. That's why you can't bring yourself to put him out because you're like, I got love for that Brock Purdy kid, man. I love him so much.
I'm just hoping that Sirianni gets on the phone and trades Hurts for Brock Purdy.
So we finally admit that maybe Brock Purdy's better than Jalen Hurts. Ooh.
Yeah, because that's a stupid-ass trade. Hurts is obviously the better quarterback between the two, and that's a Sirianni type move.
Maybe trade Sirianni himself. Maybe get him out the fuck out of there.
And you guys want to tune in tomorrow for that whole fucking fiasco.
Okay, I can't wait to hear your breakdown
worse.
Of that. That's going to be fun.
And then I want to announce these next three picks all together because I did say to you there was a spot in my power rankings that I had a hard time putting who I want where.
I'll pop them all three out here. Let's go.
At number 9, I got the Buffalo Bills. At 8, Houston Texans. And in 7, Washington Commanders. And I think number 6, Green Bay Packers were another team that I was trying to figure out where to put them. And here's the problem that I had. The Bills obviously beat the Jets last night.
Yes.
Houston, who played, I think it was kind of a weaker team, but it was kind of a...
they played New England, as I just mentioned. Yeah.
And they won by 20 points, so it's they had a blowout against a shitty team, but the Bills did lose to Houston the week before.
Yes, they did.
Okay, and then with the Commanders, they lost to the Ravens, but I think the Ravens are a good team, so I think that was a good loss for them. I think,
and they were on the road. And the thing with the Commanders is it wasn't their offense; it was the defense, and that was my concern going into the game anyway, which is why I picked the Ravens. Was it's not about Jaden Daniels, who again he's a revelation at quarterback. We have to be honest about that now. And both of us being NFC East team fans are like shit, but the kid's good. The kid's a revelation. So
and that game showed it's they're not frauds like how we thought Seattle and a couple
Right.
other
Yeah.
teams.
No, they can hang. They can hang.
And in Green Bay, it seems like Jordan Love got over the whole throwing from his end zone type
The
thing.
rust is coming off of him a lot, but
Yeah.
he's playing better. I'll agree with that. And
I-
boy, Arizona though, boy, they could not stop fumbling that fucking ball in that game. So I mean that helped them there. But the Green Bay defense is good. They have Jair Alexander. God, it still hurts me every time I see Xavier McKinney there because it's like why fire Joe Shane? Forget Saquon. Fire Joe Shane for letting Xavier McKinney go. I'm still pissed about that. But
But I mean, from 7 to 9, it's just, and like I said, even maybe 6, you could probably interchange all of them. They're just so close as far as how good
I get
they
the
are.
reasoning though. I get the reasoning, and so I'll agree with that to an extent. Yeah, and I see like the Texans move down too, but because of how things are breaking down in your thing, you have the Commanders staying, and that's it. I had and I'll sneak preview here. Commanders stayed right where they were with mine too for the same reasons of played well, battled the Ravens there on the road, tough conditions. Jaden looked good. They look good. The defense, I think, is a little bit of their problem. But outside of that, the Commanders are a legitimate playoff contending team.
Yeah. And then moving on to 5 here, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were, just back at it. Baker Mayfield was doing good. I think it was a slow day for Mike Evans, but Godwin picked up the slack for them.
Dude, just when you think though, like, because it's like, oh, the Buccaneers are up 17-0, and then they're losing. What was it? 20. They were losing 24-20 going into halftime, or was it
Yeah.
27-20 going into halftime? Something like that. Like it was like, I can't believe the Buccaneers are going to end up blowing this game. Are you kidding me? There's no way. And then the second half came up, and they said, nope, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're done.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're done playing with our food.
My God, 51 they
so-
put up. Yeah.
That's why I got them there. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. I know you're not a believer in them. I'm a
No, but
believer.
listen, they played well and they battled a very good opponent. So yes.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they gave up 20 points to let the Commanders back into it. There was it seemed like there's a little bit of time there that they had actually had some adversity. They had to get themselves back into the game. So that was impressive to me. Number 2 and 3, I have the Minnesota Vikings and Kansas City Chiefs, both on a bye, so can't really move them too much.
Well, you moved the Vikings, I see. -1
did.
space on a bye. How could you do that, Jimbo?
And even though it was a shitty weekend for me, being sick again, the Browns not doing the job I want them to do of winning and getting Sirianni fired, Detroit made my weekend a hell of a lot better. They're my number 1 team. I mean, what word can I use to describe what they did to Dallas?
My favorite word that of recently, and I've said it all the time, it was a mollywhopping. They
There we go.
mollywhopped them, baby.
You know it's bad when you have a left guard or a left tackle, whatever he was, line up as a wide receiver and do a wide receiver
They
route.
were doing it all game. It seemed like they were using the Cowboys as practice.
Yeah.
And somebody said they had no respect for the Cowboys or what they were doing because they that's it. You had Skinner out wide. They were doing end arounds and reverses with linemen coming in. They got Penny Sewell. They tried to get the touchdown and the refs threw a flag for some fucking reason. Again,
Yeah.
do not get me started on the referees and the flags, especially last night. Holy shit! We almost hit 30 total flags, 22 total accepted penalties. There was 22
shit.
total accepted penalties and 29 flags thrown. Unbelievable from the officials. So if there's a spot below the Browns on the Booty Cheeks 5s, it's the fucking refs. Fuck them. They're the worst. Anyway,
The only last thing I'll say about Detroit is I love the one interaction between Decker and I think it was Ben Johnson. First play of the game, they send Decker out to be eligible.
yes.
All that happened last year. They got the touchdown, whatever, and Decker walked over and goes, "There's something seriously." Or no, you're sick for doing that play. As a big FU to Dallas. But
And
Detroit, I mean,
But and we can't listen. We can't talk about the game obviously without talking about the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. Which is first of all, the last time I saw something like that is we were watching UFC, and I think who was it? It was one of the Brazilians.
Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva, yeah. He went to go do a
Yep.
kick. Somebody went to put the block up on it, and his shin just wrapped around his leg. And it's like, that's not supposed to do that. That's exactly what happened to poor Aiden Hutchinson. You just see his leg wrap around his teammate's leg like that, and it's just like, oh no. It's like, it may be a tibia fracture. It's like, that's a tibia fracture. That's a tib fib everything, baby. That's...
I did pull a little Troy Aikman. After
Maybe
he
it's a
got,
sprain.
after he got carted off, and I was like, same thing. Okay, it might be a tibia. I'm like, all right, tibia. That's usually about a 6 to 8 week recovery period. He could come back towards the end of the season. And right now he's looking at possibly Super Bowl if
that happens, and that's it. You
possible.
heard Dan Campbell say 4 to 6 months. The more realistic outlook is 8 months
Yeah.
at the better end. So I don't know. Like I think by like if the Lions get to that point, like you'll see him walking on the sidelines, like he'll be there, but I don't know if he'll be strong enough or the bones will be fused enough to the doctor's liking to be football ready. But you never know. Football players are... Listen, Jack Youngblood played with a broken leg in Super Bowl 14. So, there's that. But there you go. There's Jimbo's top 12 teams after Week 6 here in the NFL. He's got the Lions, the Vikings, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Packers, the Washington football team, the Redskins Commanders, the Texans, the Bills. Still's got the Niners in there. The Steelers make it in there for Jimbo at number 11. And again, staying like before, the Atlanta Falcons at number 12. So there's a lot to unpack there. And here's the thing, and this is the one thing I noticed when I was putting the graphics together for this, is that honestly both of us have, from what our top 12 was last week, they've stayed relatively the same. Like there's a lot of movement. And it feels like we're in that sweet spot. It feels like we're right in that groove now when it comes. And as for me, let me pop up my picks up here. For number 12, who do I got? Making their way into the list, I have Bear Down, Chicago Bears. They are playing well. Their defense actually looks pretty good. And again, they're playing lesser opponents, and I get that. Don't get me wrong. I understand that they've beaten the Panthers very well. They beat the Jaguars last week in London. But maybe that's just what like a rookie quarterback needs. Like this is hit Caleb Williams and the Bears kind of right at the right time, right when they're trying to develop him, right when he's trying to get a little bit better, and they're improving every week. And now you play two teams that are still on the back, they're on the back foot, if you will. But he has performed well. He had 4 touchdowns this past week in London. Could have had 5 if the referee marked it a little bit closer, but it wasn't. They said he marked it short, so he didn't get the touchdown pass. But, I mean, he has played exceptionally well, especially these last couple of weeks. So I think the Bears are improving. They're improving every week, and they're at 4-2. Everybody in the NFC North has got at least 4 wins. I believe the top 4 teams in the NFL with point when it comes to point differential are all 4 of the NFC North teams. So right now, where before the season we're thinking maybe the AFC North would be the strongest division, we had to let it wrong. It wasn't the AFC North, it was the NFC North, as they are now. I mean, Bears are good. I'll say that. Are they great? No, but I got them at number 12, and we'll see how the rest of the year progresses for them, and if Caleb Williams continues to improve every week. But for right now, I got them at 12. At number 11, I got the Bills. No change from last week. Again, they did beat the Jets, but I think there's still a lot to be concerned about if you're a Bills fan. Their running game went right through the Jets last night. It was not even like I don't know what happened to that Jets run defense, but I don't know. Did Robert Saleh take that with him in his box when he left the building? I have no idea. But their run defense was non-existent last night. The Jets against the Bills, and but it's a win. but it didn't impress me, I guess. To quote good old Shania Twain, that don't impress me much. That they stay a leg before at number 11. At number 10, also not moving much, are the Falcons. They did get a win. They did play the Panthers. They are in control still of the NFC South because they have the tiebreaker on the Buccaneers right now. But that is where I have the Falcons 4-2. No change still at number 10. Number 9, no change as well. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They went into Vegas, took care of business. Vegas, not good. They're just not a good team now, unfortunately. And, whether you have Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew in there, it doesn't really matter. And now you don't have Devontae Adams, clearly, which they haven't had him for the last couple of weeks as it was. So this seems to be just kind of a free-fall season for the Raiders. And it is what it is. But so for the Steelers, good win, but a bad team, so you don't move up too much. Number 8, I have the Green Bay Packers. I actually have the Packers down a spot. Just because of how things shook out and how I had to move teams around. This isn't a reflection on the Packers playing badly. Again, they played the Cardinals. They beat them well, 34-13. Took advantage of them. Got 3 fumble recoveries from them. So great week from the Packers, 4-2. But I have them actually moving down a spot. The same for the Texans. Here's the thing. I wanted to get into this real quickly. And I wanted to save this, so I didn't say it during your thing. The Texans are 5-1. But they feel like a 3-3 team to me. Yeah. Like they don't. It doesn't feel like a 5-1 team. They don't feel like they're that great or dominant of a team with some of their wins. So again, they did win. They beat New England by 20 points. You should be able to do that if you're a good team. By the way, New England's throwbacks. Just want to say, Pat the Patriot. Man, there's not a throwback I really don't like. I love all the throwbacks. Yeah, granted, I know the Giants wouldn't go. Like, the Giants one is a cool throwback for a one-off. I'll leave it at that. But, like, the Seahawks, the Broncos, those should be permanent again. Pat the Patriot should be a permanent goddamn uniform. I say it now. I'll say it forever. But, yeah, for the Texans, they're 5-1. They don't feel 5-1. I don't feel it. So, ow. I just hit my elbow. So I have them actually down a spot because of how I had to move some of these teams around. So that's it. Texans at 7. At 6, and the reason why I moved some of these other teams down was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have them up 2 spots. Just like they get out to a hot start, and then they lose the lead. You're like, oh, are they going to collapse? Is this New Orleans coming back? Is New Orleans going to actually start, reestablishing themselves as being like the team that we thought they were in week 1 and week 2? And then the second half started, and it was, nope, that was not the case. Baker Mayfield he's baking, baby. He's baking some cakes and baking some cookies and making it happen. Looking good. The Buccaneers, again, they're technically in second place because the Falcons hold a tiebreaker over them currently after the overtime win a couple Thursdays ago. But I think they are one of the more dangerous teams in the NFC. Again, they've already beaten the Lions in Detroit. They've had some good wins. They've had a couple bad losses too. Clearly being 4-2, but they've been impressive so far this year. So I have them there at number 6. Top 5, baby. I got the Commanders. Washington football team, the Redskins Commanders. They lost, yes, to the Ravens, but if there is such a thing as a good loss, they played well against the Ravens, who of course I have at number 4. No change for them either. They played the Commanders well. Were able to fight against Jaden Daniels, pulled out a win. They were at home. That's a good win when you think the Ravens might be inconsistent or they might not play well, and they pulled off a game like that. Tough game, hard game against a very good opponent, and they won. So, but they stay like it before, as does number 3, the Detroit Lions, 4-1. What a game against the Cowboys. But I think we can both agree right now, Cowboys are not a good team. Cowboys.
To the point that Jerry's threatening to fire radio hosts.
They are literally this close. They're one, and this is what I mean. The Giants should have beat them, and I still get pissed at Dable about that with his dumb play calling during that game. However, if the Giants had beaten the Cowboys on that Thursday night, the Cowboys are probably number 28 in the Booty Cheeks 5 this week. Like, they are that bad. Like, they are. They're not good. There's no other way to put it. So the Lions win. I don't have them moving up at all because I just have the Cowboys as an inferior opponent. And again, when you're doing basically tackle eligible practice for 3/4 of the game, that was a kitty cat toying with its food. That was the kitty cat toying with the mouse. That's what it was.
Yeah.
At number 2, again, no change. They were on a bye week of the Minnesota Vikings, as are the number 1 team still overall, the Chiefs. Both of those teams, Chiefs and Vikings, both had a bye week, so they both stay a leg before. So that is my NFL Top 12 countdown. You got the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Lions, the Ravens, the Washington football team of Redskins Commanders, the Buccaneers, the Texans, the Packers, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Bills, and welcoming into the top 12 for the first time this year, the Chicago Bears. So that is the countdown here for after Week 6. Now, we got Week 7 coming up here. We got the Broncos and Saints. That's going to be the Thursday night game. And then the first edition on Sunday, baby. It's coming up, baby. And it's coming up. Giants and Eagles at the big HVAC unit. Saquon Barkley coming back home. Woo! Doggy, Giants got a chance. See, here's the thing. Giants got a chance. If Daboll doesn't fuck up, Giants got a chance. Got a chance, baby. And I don't know if a loss to the Giants will be the same as a loss to the Browns, but if the Giants do beat the Eagles, because listen, it's still a hot seat for Nick Sirianni, and we will get to that tomorrow. But it is still a hot seat for Nick.
Yeah, I mean he's a bitch. That's all I love about. Sirianni's a bitch.
Well, when you yell at your fans and then you bring your kids up to the podium as like a...
That's why.
Don't say that. I got human shields here. Don't say anything about me. This is just fun. And then he goes and he apologizes and stuff like that. It's like... If there's one thing I know about the fans of Philadelphia, it's that I'm sure they respectfully declined his apology.
We could read bullshit. We know what happened there.
So you're definitely not going to want to miss that tomorrow when we go ahead and talk about Nick Sirianni. We talk about Davante Adams. We talk about Amari Cooper. We talk about any or all the other trades that might be happening here in the NFL.
Possibly Riddick.
Possibly. Oh, yeah. Hassan Riddick has been... The Jets gave him permission to seek a trade there with Drew Rosenhaus. So maybe the Jets are still getting to get a couple more pieces here before the trade deadline. And, again, things are kind of moving fast and furious. You got to love it. Yankees won Game 1 in the ALCS. The Mets tied up things with the Dodgers in the NLCS. The Devils are the first team to beat the Utah Hockey Club. Let's go, Devils, baby. Woo! Could the Rangers do it? Did the Rangers beat Utah? No, they lost because they're a bunch of fucking bitches. Devils did it, though. The Devils, they never fail you. Take that, you Mormons.
I'll say this about my Flyers. I watched them Friday night. I was like, all right, we have a decent team. And then next night, 6-2, we lose. I'm like, good job, guys.
It happens. It's a long season. You got 82 games, so you're gonna have a couple of those in there, but it's fun. So make sure that you join us tomorrow for the regular show, the flagship show. Stay tuned, sports. It's gonna be fun. If you like what you're watching, please like, share, subscribe. Also, we have links for our donation station down in the description below here, as well as our merch store. Please check that out. And our Discord. Come on. We got a couple more Discord members. I did see that. So
yes.
Come on in. Come on in. It's fun. Make it fun. It's a little quiet right now, but you can, come on, make it rowdy. Make it good. But for your good friend Jimbo, my name is King. That's been the Countdown, ladies and gentlemen. See you tomorrow. Adios.